Hello everybody, right, this is probably going to be the start of another video clip, so just to update you, I've not long applied stripper to one of the pieces and I'm going to need to apply a little bit more before I scrub that off. Before I do scrub that off though, I want to apply some stripper to the top shelf that had the iron burn on it, or mark on it. But basically I want to apply the stripper to that to see how effective it's really been. Okay, so we'll have a look at that. So that's obviously where the iron mark was, and this is the piece that I've not long added the stripper to. Just going to give it a little bit of an extra rubber scrubber. Right. I need more stripper. Now I have got another type of stripper that I bought. It's a type that I've not used yet, but it did come quite highly recommended. But I figured I'd go with what I know while I've got some of it before trying something new. Even though I'm trying to be careful, I keep feeling splashes on my arm. Clearly I'm not being as careful as I should be. I know I said I was going to sort of approach it one piece at a time. I am. All I'm doing is applying applying the stripper to one, leaving it for a while I crack on a bit with this one. Okay, so we've got where shelf was marked there. The question is whether the bits in between are going to actually start coming up. How the fuck have I got stuff on me? Myself a new piece. Okay, so it's coming up a little bit. I just need to struggle a bit more. Well, that's come up a lot more than the last shelf did anyway. whether the furniture stripper I've got is just too weak. Maybe I'd be better off using the other one. I mean, it's definitely taking it up. It's just in very small amounts. I think at this rate, we'll probably need to apply another 2 or 3 times on one piece. That's too much, it's too long. Cane in my hands. Okay, so I think it needs a mixture of more chemical and more scrubbing. The problem is I'm struggling to do the scrubbing. I think I'd need to reapply for that to work. Okay, well, it's definitely taken some off, and I can definitely tell that the more I scrub, the more it's coming off. So, for example, this little area here, making a big impact on it, but making an impact on it. The only thing is now there's literally no stripper left on there. Just trying to push the dirt into the gap. It's a bit too late to be putting a vacuum cleaner on. Now, for anyone that might think I do no exercise, you should try doing this. Although, to be fair, over the last couple of months, I have been drinking way too, well, I won't say way too much. I have on occasion been drinking way too much. I've pretty much gone from not drinking in 10 years other than at Christmas and special occasions to my fridge has not gone without a beer in it for at least 3 months. And I would say I've probably had at least 1 beer every day. Recently though it's been more having 1 or 2, and then every now and again it'd be like 6 or 7, or as I happened to do the other day without really realising it, well, a couple of weeks ago, was playing Pro Evo and was getting through a beer every 1 to 2 games. It wasn't until I realised I played about 12, 14 games, I was like, ooh, okay, I've had somewhere between 6 and 12 beers. Okay, so we've definitely made progress on there, but I'm not going to scrub that anymore until that's got some more remover on it, which I'm not going to apply on there now because I want to attack this one. So this has been on there for what, 14 minutes? And it is picking up a bit. Yeah, so we can see that it is picking up quite a bit, but I'm going to need to reapply. Now I can only guess that because this was the top shelf and it had taken quite a beating, its coating may be a little thinner, because this area here seemed to come up fairly easily, but now, as tempting as it would be to go, fuck it, I'll use power sander on it, it'd be so much easier. It would, but it'd fuck it up. Oh. Now I may have to go for a bit more hand sanding than I was expecting to perhaps be doing. think what I am going to do though is once I've sort of scrubbed this as much as I can tonight, I'll leave it for tonight. And I can come back to it with perhaps a slightly renewed vigour on another day, potentially with, I was going to say potentially with a different stripper, but I mean this is working, it's just very, very slow. I mean maybe I'm still just not applying anywhere near enough, but I'm trying to sort of factor in what I've got to how much I've got to do. So on this piece, the iron mark was there. I can still see it. On the camera you can still see it, but it's a lot less prominent. The only thing is, like I say, with this, yeah, even if I was to keep going, I haven't got enough wire wool to finish it, not with how much it's taking. Okay, so, well, I've got a bit left in here. Yeah, I mean it is definitely frustrating for me because, like I say, on many videos I've seen, they're not having the need to redo this as many times as I am. That, admittedly, like with this, I've just put a bit of stripper on. I'm not leaving it 15 minutes to really work its magic. But I left the first application 15 minutes and it did a bit, but not as much as I wanted, excuse me. Having said that, where's the iron mark? This is the thing, colour wise, the colour's not that different. It's actually, I think it looks darker than it did before I started applying the stripper. But it must have gone to the same colour as the iron mark because the iron mark has gone. So something's working. That's what I want to do. Well, to be fair, I'm quite a bit skint at the minute. I think when I get my next lot of money in, I need to get myself some more wire wool, and also more white spirits. I'll take these gloves off, these orange ones. Right, let's take them off. Let's grab the white spirits. Let's give this one clean. Now, in a way, it is kind of pointless doing this at the moment, but I'm doing it so that I get a really good representation of whether the iron mark has gone, which it has. So, although I was feeling quite negative about how much is coming off, the iron mark has completely gone. So, I think I think I'm going to have to basically treat these all very different. So for example, that has cleaned up quite nice, but may still need a bit more doing. This needs fucking loads more doing. Now that could be because whenever this was last treated or whatever, it was done with the shelvers in place, which is why there's a big discoloration between the two. So for me, fucking perfectionist, I'm going to have to keep going until this all matches. The first one I was working on actually looks like it's come up quite clean. So that's and by quite clean I mean it's all pretty much the same colour. I'm just going to cut white down with some white spirits. I can see where, well, I can see where it still needs a bit of taking off, but it's actually just come off with the white spirits. It was just a couple of clumps. Okay, so, and that's not loads of white spirits that I've put on there, but that has now come up very nice. So, this shelf and the one that had the iron mark on it actually haven't needed that much in hindsight. But the other shelf, that one's got a few marks on it, so it'll be interesting to see how that goes. But considering how the one with the iron mark went, I'm not too worried about that. But I can also now show you the difference again about the colour and the grain on here. You might be able to see the grain, but the grain is basically the arch type. So it comes up and goes back down. Then if you turn it over, the back side is much darker and is a very, very different grain. It's more like just rivers going straight down. So one of the things that I was saying earlier about how whether I thought there was a clear resin on it, and by the way, I'm keeping my mask on for a minute because of the chemicals. Yeah, is because of the different colours of the veneer. See, what I was expecting was to treat this dark side and have it come up much lighter, more like that side. But I don't think it's going to do it, because I think it's just naturally... Okay, that is just a more naturally darker veneer, whereas on the other side of this, with this one of the side pieces, this veneer is the same type of veneer as that, but is a lot more glossy than what I've got here, right? But I've not treated this yet. I've not stripped that bit. So when I come to strip that, it's not going to go really light, but it should go a lot more like that. So that's where I'm thinking that shine on there, that's the varnish, that's the clear varnish that's on it. And the reason I don't think it's a coloured varnish is because it wasn't changing colour on those other pieces. It wasn't getting considerably lighter, it was just getting cleaner. And the thing is, looking at these pieces of wood now, and having seen that piece, which is what the other shelves kind of were like, I do actually feel a lot better now, because I can see that, yeah, that has come up a hell of a lot cleaner than I first thought. The one with the iron mark has now dried, and there's no iron mark. So yeah, I'm fairly pleased with that. I mean, this one, that's only had one bit of treatment on it, so I should actually be fairly pleased with how that's gone. I wasn't, but just taking a step back, not too bad. It's not too bad now. Interestingly though, this is the side piece opposite to that. And it doesn't look like this one was still in place when it was finished. This one looks more like it was finished and then put on. We'll see when it comes to stripping that side, whether taking a layer off, it'll end up looking like that. I mean, that's another way for me to perhaps look at it, is to think, well, if I've applied one coating of stripper and scrubbed it off, if there's 2 coats of varnish, then it's going to need another to strip that other coat off. Suppose that's one way to look at it. Right, anyway, I've made a fucking mess. I can't clean it up. Oh, my nose is itching. I'm going to get going. So we'll see how we get on next time.